We all know that Bill Hamilton's life has been hanging by the thinnest, most fragile of threads lately, but the latest developments have just cranked the dial up to 1,000. Are we about to witness the tragic, untimely demise of the legendary lawyer, or will the sheer incompetence of his would-be assassins give him a fighting chance? Let me tell you, the ticking clock has never sounded so deafening, and the stakes have never been this lethal. Who else is holding their breath waiting for the other shoe to drop? Let's set the scene, shall we? Picture the bustling main lobby of the hospital. Doctors are rushing. Nurses, like our beloved Ashley Morgan and Shanice Johnson, are working around the clock to save lives. And right there, hiding in plain sight, amidst the sterile white walls and the faint beeping of heart monitors, are Hayley Hamilton and her partner in crime, Randy Parker. I mean, the absolute nerve of these two. They are casually standing in the atrium discussing the literal murder of Bill Hamilton as if they are deciding what to order for a light afternoon lunch. Hayley is visibly furious, and you can see the unhinged desperation flashing in her eyes. She knows that she absolutely cannot deliver the fatal dose while Bill is under the watchful eyes of the medical staff. The hospital is crawling with Dupree's, nurses, and security cameras. It is a fortress that is currently keeping her $10 million payday just out of her manicured reach. But does a minor inconvenience like a hospital stay stop a predator like Hayley? Not a chance. What twisted scheme is she going to concoct next to bypass the medical staff and finish her gruesome task? The frustration radiating from Hayley is palpable, but it is the harsh medical reality of Bill's situation that is truly throwing a massive wrench into her lethal timeline. We have to talk about that pacemaker. When Dr. Wilkes and the surgical team implanted that device after Caroline Lee miraculously found Bill collapsed on the floor of his office, it was meant to be his saving grace. But for Hayley and Randy, that little piece of technology is their absolute worst nightmare. Standing in that lobby, they are recounting how Bill nearly died, how agonizingly close they were to finally winning this twisted game, cashing in the life insurance, and walking away scotangent free. But now, the pacemaker makes everything infinitely more complicated. It actively regulates his heart, meaning that the slow burn poison she has been slipping into his green smoothies might not trigger the sudden untraceable heart attack she had meticulously planned for their canceled St. Bart's trip. Will this life-saving device be the very thing that exposes her entire murderous operation to the authorities? And then we have Randy Parker. Oh, poor sweating Randy. If Hayley is the ice-cold calculating mastermind, Randy is the paranoid accomplice who is slowly realizing that he is drowning in a sea of his own making. I could practically feel his intense anxiety radiating through the television screen. He is terrified, and rightfully so. He brings up a horrifying, completely plausible scenario that makes the blood run cold. Because of the pacemaker fighting against the toxic serum, what if Bill doesn't actually die? What if the lethal dose doesn't stop his heart completely, but instead causes a catastrophic neurological event? Randy looks his cousin dead in the eye and voices his ultimate paralyzing fear. What if Bill ends up in a permanent vegetative coma? Can you even imagine the sheer panic coursing through Randy's veins right now? He knows that a botched murder is infinitely worse than a successful one, leaving a living victim who could potentially wake up and point the finger. Will Randy's overwhelming paranoia cause him to crack under the immense pressure and confess everything before it is too late? But it is the second half of Randy's terrifying hypothetical that truly sends Hayley over the edge into pure madness. Randy points out the undeniable truth about the Hamilton-Dupree family dynamic. If Bill is left in a coma, his life insurance policy will not pay out a single dime. Even worse, who is going to be making the medical decision? Denny Dupree and his fiercely loyal daughters, Chelsea and Naomi. Randy specifically voices the agonizing dread that Danny and the kids would absolutely decide to keep Bill alive on life support forever. They would never, ever pull the plug. They would sit by his bedside holding his hand, praying for a medical miracle, and keeping him breathing through machines for decades if they had to. For Hayley, this is a fate worse than death. Not only would she be denied her massive inheritance, but she would be forever tethered to a comatose husband, forced to play the grieving, devoted wife, while Danny Dupree hovers around like a protective hawk. How much more of Danny's suffocating presence can Hayley actually stomach before she completely snaps and does something incredibly reckless? The moment Randy utters those words, the mere suggestion that Danny Dupree might have the final say over Bill's existence and keep him alive eternally, Hayley's entire demeanor shifts. The carefully crafted mask slips, and the pure, unadulterated venom spills out for the world. She aggressively snaps at Randy, ordering him not to ever say that out loud. She refuses to even manifest the idea of Danny winning this war. I was screaming at my television. Hayley is so entirely consumed by her bitter hatred for her predecessor. She knows that Danny still has a profound, unbreakable connection to Bill. We all know about that secret, steamy elevator hookup during the terrifying tornado, and even though Hayley might not know the explicit details yet, her dark intuition is screaming that Danny is a massive threat to her future. Hayley looks at Randy with a chilling, dead-eyed glare and vows that she will not let that happen. She will not lose this battle to Danny Dupree. But with Danny practically living at the hospital and constantly clashing with Hayley in the corridors, how on earth is Hayley going to isolate Bill long enough to administer the final blow? This brings us to Hayley's horrifying new resolution, and it is a game changer. She is officially done playing the slow, methodical game. The days of microdosing his electrolyte drinks and pretending to care about his cardiovascular health are over. Hayley vehemently declares to Randy that the very next time she has the opportunity, she is going to give Bill as much poison as humanly possible. This is no longer just a calculated financial transaction. This is a desperate, violent endgame. She is going to flood his system with a massive, undeniable, lethal dose that not even a state-of-the-art pacemaker can fight against. She wants him dead, and she wants him dead immediately, leaving absolutely no room for a coma or a miraculous recovery. The sheer desperation is dripping from her every word. She is tired of the waiting, tired of the near misses, and most of all, tired of the constant, suffocating presence of his family. But a massive dose of poison inevitably leaves traces. If she pumps him full of toxins, won't Dr. Madison Montgomery or the brilliant medical examiner immediately flag the toxicology report? Is Hayley's growing impatience going to be the very thing that sends her straight to a cold prison cell? Let's dig deeper into the twisted psychology of Hayley Hamilton in this exact pivotal moment. I have been watching her manipulate, lie, and scheme for months, but this hushed conversation with Randy revealed a terrifying new layer to her character that we haven't fully seen before. She explicitly states, with a wicked, spine-chilling smile, that she needs enough poison to punish all of them simply because they keep annoying her. Did you hear that? Punish all of them. She isn't just trying to secure a $10 million bag anymore. She wants to inflict maximum emotional devastation on Danny, Chelsea, Naomi, and everyone who has ever looked down on her or questioned her loyalty. She wants to watch them weep over Bill's casket as the ultimate revenge for their constant interference and blatant disrespect. That smile, that dark, sinister, triumphant smirk sent actual shivers down my spine. It is the look of a woman who has completely detached from her own humanity and embraced the darkness. Who else is genuinely terrified that Hayley might not stop at just Bill if someone else accidentally gets in her way? The tension is only amplified by the fact that right upstairs, Bill is growing increasingly restless and agitated in his hospital bed. He is demanding to be released, fighting with his doctors, and actively trying to assert his dominance despite his failing health. He has absolutely no idea that the woman he is blindly defending against his own daughters is downstairs calculating the exact dosage required to stop his heart permanently. The dramatic irony is almost too much to bear. We as the audience know the Grim Reaper is literally waiting in the lobby, plotting with her cousin, but Bill is completely oblivious, focused only on getting out of that hospital bed and returning to his law firm. Every time Chelsea or Naomi tries to warn him about Hayley's shady behavior, he stubbornly shuts them down. It is tragic, really. He is sealing his own fate with his arrogance and his refusal to see the truth standing right in front of him. When Bill finally gets the medical clearance to go home, will he be walking straight into a meticulously planned death trap from which he cannot escape? Meanwhile, we cannot forget that the Dupree cousins Naomi, Chelsea, and Kat, along with Jacob, are actively trying to expose Hayley's lie. They know she is a black widow. They know she is having a highly suspicious relationship with Randy, but they are missing the crucial, lethal piece of the puzzle, the poison. They are looking for proof of a romantic affair, completely unaware that they should be looking for proof of attempted murder. I am practically pulling my hair out, wanting to scream through the screen to tell them to test his blood for heavy metals and toxins. If Naomi or Chelsea could just overhear one fraction of this lobby conversation between Hayley and Randy, the entire game would change in an instant. But time is rapidly running out, and Naomi is currently distracted by her own devastating BRCA diagnosis, giving Hayley the perfect blind spot to operate within. Will the cousins connect the dots before Hayley administers that final, fatal dose? Or will their realization come far too late, leaving them standing helplessly over their father's grave? We also desperately need to talk about Randy's rapidly approaching breaking point. He is a henchman, yes, but he has shown flashes of a conscience, especially when dealing with Mona Wilson and his emotional ties to the late Doug McBride. He is currently being squeezed from all sides, and the pressure is mounting to an unbearable level. Joey Armstrong is breathing down his neck, demanding he tail Heather Armstrong, the dangerous impaler, and now his unhinged cousin is demanding he assist in a messy, high-risk assassination that could easily result in a coma and a lifetime of relentless police scrutiny. Randy is a walking, talking, ticking time bomb. How much more of Hayley's homicidal madness can he endure before his self-preservation instincts kick in? I have a very strong feeling that Randy might be the weak link that shatters this entire operation into a million pieces. If the police, or worse, the ruthless Joey Armstrong, start asking the right questions, will Randy flip on Hayley to save his own skin and avoid a murder charge? The anticipation for the exact moment Bill is discharged is purely agonizing. We know the hospital is a temporary safe zone. As long as he is hooked up to those monitors with Ashley Morgan checking his vitals, Hayley's hands are firmly tied. But the second those hospital doors slide open and he steps into the private, secluded confines of wherever they are staying since the tornado destroyed their mansion, he is entirely at her mercy. She will be the one pouring his drinks, making his meals, and controlling his environment without any nurses to intervene. It is the absolute perfect setup for a predator ready to strike. I am dreading the scene where she hands him that final, tainted glass of whatever she concocts. Will there be a fleeting moment of hesitation in her eyes, or will she watch him drink it with that same sinister, victorious smile she showed Randy in the lobby? As we brace ourselves for the upcoming episodes, the collision course is firmly set and there is no turning back. Danny's fierce protectiveness and lingering love, the daughter's relentless but misguided suspicions, Randy's crumbling nerves, and Hayley's venomous, murderous determination are all converging into one explosive, unforgettable climax. Hayley has promised that she will not lose this battle, but she is vastly underestimating the sheer force of a family fighting for one of their own. The drama is intoxicating, the suspense is unbearable, and the emotional stakes are higher than they have ever been in the history of Fairmont Crest. Will Hayley Hamilton achieve her dark, twisted victory and claim her millions? Or will her arrogance and impatience be her ultimate, spectacular downfall? One thing is for absolute certain. The next few days in Fairmont Crest are going to be absolute, unadulterated chaos. Secrets will detonate, lives will hang precariously in the balance, and the emotional fallout will be nothing short of spectacular. Keep your eyes peeled and your theories ready, because when this bomb finally goes off, no one in this town is going to be safe. Until next time, stay obsessed and keep watching the gates.